Sonic the Hedgehog, Mega Man. Two iconic video game characters. They both existed for over 2 decades. They fight mad scientists who builds robots, and they're both blue. A team up between the two would be awesome, right? Well, game-wise, there'd be playstyle issues, as well as Sega and Capcom cooperating with each other. However, one media genre will see the blue heroes together, the comic book. Sonic and Mega Man will meet this spring in a series of comics published by Archie. How did it come about, you may ask? Short answer, Capcom wanted it to happen and Sega followed suit. The longer explanation involves some brief history, so just sit back, relax, and let me tell you how this came about. The Archie Sonic comics have existed for decades. In fact, they are actually celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. The comic has had a measure of success, drawing from multiple sources, including games and cartoons, and it also has its own share of original characters. For a while, there were also specials, miniseries, and a couple of spin-off comics. Like anything long-running, the comic has had share of dark periods, where things were meh. Some rare gems do get across, but there are things that are just plain awful. And surprisingly, the comic has chugged along. In the mid-2000s, Archie hired this guy, Ian Flynn, to be head writer of the Sonic comics, and Ian himself is a Sonic fanboy. Since he's been on the comic, he has cleaned up the messes left behind by other writers, and brought a sense of fun back to the book. He's also utilized continuity and brought some game elements as well. It paid off. The comic got a new lease on life, enough to create a new spin-off series, Sonic Universe, currently celebrating its 2nd milestone, and a series of graphic novels have been made. Given the success of Sonic, Archie wanted to expand its action series and reached out to various companies, video game or otherwise, to get some comic licensing rights, and one company responded. Mega Man the comic was soon announced in late 2010, and in the spring of the following year, the first issue was released. Written by Ian Flynn, man that guy's busy. The comic is a more faithful adaptation, using game elements right off the bat. Don't worry, there's room for issues with original stories and characters. With both video game icons publishing under the same company, people started hoping, including myself, that a crossover would be possible. And wouldn't you know it, our prayers have been answered. Again, if Capcom was responsible for extending the olive branch, thank them. Thank them for at least getting this right. The crossover itself will begin in April, and this will span 4 months. It may seem like a long time, but it's going to go by really fast, so yeah. Now, I'm assuming people who are watching this are familiar somewhat with Sonic and Mega Man, either from the games or the comics, or my own reviews. Sorry for the shameless plug. But for those who don't know jack squat about any of these guys, do not worry. What I will do is I will give a quick primer on the two blue heroes, their worlds, their enemies, and if it looks like I'm excluding some things, it's for 2 reasons. One, it'll probably show up in the crossover later on and I didn't get wind of it. Or 2, it's an Archie exclusive thing that has no relevance in the crossover. Yeah, this crossover will focus specifically on game-related characters and elements from the games. It makes sense from a marketing standpoint, but hey, what can you do about it? Alright, so let's get these introductions started. Sonic the Hedgehog is a speedy blue hero with attitude, and he has been fighting his enemy, Dr. Ivo Robotnik, since childhood. Robotnik has had a tight grip on the world thanks to an army of foot soldiers known as SWAT bots, various badniks from the games, and robotic slaves that used to be Mobians. That is until Robotnik threw them into machines known as roboticizers, turning flesh into metal and programming them to serve the Mad Doctor. Sonic himself fell victim to this process. Don't worry, he got better. Sonic and Robotnik had one final battle in which the Doctor met his demise. Sonic didn't do it, but that's a long story. A Robotnik from a parallel universe, one in which he roboticized himself, heard of Robotnik's demise and, after killing his Sonic, decides to travel across time and space to fill the void in their lives. After their first explosive encounter, Robo-Robotnik's body was destroyed, and his mind transferred into the Eggman body, and sometime later, the body turned into flesh. That's another long story. So, the conflict continues. To this day, Sonic is still causing a lot of headache for Eggman, and both of them have support. On Sonic's side, we have Miles Tails Prower, Sonic's best buddy. He is a mechanical genius in his own right, and his twin tails allow him to fly. There's Amy Rose, Sonic's girlfriend, in her dreams. Yeah, Sonic would rather be on the other side of the continent whenever she shows up, but Amy has a good heart, and her Pico Pico hammer can deal a lot of damage. There's Knuckles the Echidna, guardian of the Master Emerald on the floating Angel Island. He can fly in the air, he can use his fist to cause major hurt, and he's sometimes an idiot. Shut up! Shadow the Hedgehog, the ultimate life form, created 50 years ago by Professor Gerald. After working for Eggman for a brief time, Shadow discovered his true purpose through a recording of Professor Gerald. Since then, Shadow has been fighting Eggman, using a variety of special powers including Chaos Spear and Chaos Control, the ability to teleport across time and space. And then there's Silver the Hedgehog, a time traveler from the future with psychic powers. He went into the past to discover a traitor that will ultimately cause his bad future, and he's been known to get it wrong on a number of occasions. On Eggman's side, we have Robotic Assistant number 1, Orbot. While he is loyal to Eggman, he has a bit of a snarky personality. And we have Robotic Assistant number 2, Cubot. He has voice chip issues, meaning he can switch accents from cowboy to pirate and so on and so forth. Eggman also has a robotic force known as the Egg Swats, and one of Eggman's deadly weapons is a robotic doppelganger of Sonic called Metal Sonic. Some final things before moving away from Sonic. One of Eggman's recent schemes involved the launching of a new version of his deadly battle station, the Death Egg. On board was a device that can alter the very fabric of reality. The device was powered by a Chaos Emerald, one of 7 that has a limitless power. By pure coincidence, Eggman had the blue one. While the plan to reshape reality succeeded, Sonic the Hedgehog figured things out and managed to restore reality to normal thanks to the Chaos Emeralds and Chaos Control. In the process, the blue Chaos Emerald went missing, and Eggman has been ordering his forces to search high and low for it. Let's get to know our other blue hero, Mega Man, also known as Rock. He is a robot built by Dr. Thomas Light to help around the lab along with his sister Roll. Things change when Dr. Light's partner, Dr. Albert Wily, stole Dr. Light's creations, a series of advanced AI robots called the Robot Masters, and turned them loose on the city. Rock, having a strong sense of justice, volunteers to be transformed into a super fighting robot, armed with a powerful weapon known as the Mega Buster and the ability to copy the other Robot Masters' powers. Mega Man has faced off against not only Light's original Robot Masters, but a couple of powered-up versions, and Dr. Wily's stronger Robot Masters. He has also faced Yellow Blobs, evil copies, and Dr. Wily himself was not afraid to get his hands dirty if it means destroying Mega Man. Don't worry, Mega Man is not alone. He has Dr. Light, who always builds devices for him. He will always upgrade Mega Man whenever possible. His sister Roll for moral support. He has a robotic dog known as Rush, who can transform into a number of things. And then there's Otto, who is Dr. Light's assistant in making items. Now, after his latest defeat, Dr. Wily retreated to the Amazon jungle and discovered Ra-Moon, a mysterious, powerful computer with the ability to create robots and equipment from Wily's schematics. Wily also got his hands on the Robot Master prototype known as Blues. Created years ago, Blues was a prototype to a series of military robots Dr. Light and Dr. Wily were developing. There was a flaw in his power core that would eventually kill him if not fixed, but Blues did not want to be tampered with because he feared he would lose his personality as a side effect, and he ran away. Years later, he ended up at the Amazon not too long after Wily arrived. When Wily's forces brought him in, Wily gave Blues a nuclear power core. He upgraded his weapons and gave Blues a shield and a helmet. Blues renounced his name and he became Breakman. And he served Dr. Wily because Dr. Wily essentially saved his life. Eventually, Breakman will find out how much of a scumbag Wily really is, and he breaks away from him. and he will take the name Proto Man and become a lone wolf hero and will occasionally help out Mega Man. Wily will eventually create his own answer to Mega Man, a dark enforcer named Bass. Okay, everybody up to speed? Good? That's all you need to know for right now. So, yeah, this is all about having fun. We are going to have a good time. We're going to enjoy this. And if you do not enjoy this, well, it's your prerogative. I'm not forcing you to watch this. But anyway, I'm so excited. I am so happy. This is going to be awesome. This will be the greatest thing since sliced bread, or it'll end up being horse manure. So, yeah, let's get the show on the road.